This is Angela with Danceable Thoughts, and it's our summer podcast. Listen at your leisure and let that sink in. I'm usually recording this stuff on Sundays, and this is Father's Day. Shout out to all of you celebrating the wonderful fathers and father-like figures in your life. I think we're doing such a good job in our industry of involving dads, not just in the sense of, hey, prop dads build and move this stuff, but we're letting them help design. We're getting them involved in things like the Bob and Sue dance, which is so great because that way everybody gets the male family role model kind of humans involved. I think it's super important, wonderful. I know that I want to shout out to the super cute, I'm going to call him the doll granddad, Burl Heath. I know when his granddaughter was involved with studio, DanceWorks Majestics, he used to build props for them. He helped paint and design things, and he was a lovely addition to our creative team, and personally just a great help to me, such a sweet human. And those kinds of things are really wonderful as well, those family connections. I didn't have grandparents that were actively involved in my dance team world, but it's wonderful for that second generation or that older generation to be involved with the kids and let everyone share. I think that's another blessing to building a community around your team that invites and includes family members of all different types, because that's so enriching, not just for, shall we say, the biological pair involved, but everyone else in the circle. So that maybe I don't have a grandpa in my life that could be there, but I see this interaction, and being around it and seeing those positive examples are so important, and they make an impression that will go forward in these students' lives. So I hope you'll keep doing the things you're doing. You don't even have to just do the Bob and Sue performance. One of the fun things that I did with the dolls one year was we actually had a night where we brought the dads up, and they did like a little workout with the girls, dancing, line dancing, country western dancing. It doesn't have to be anything big. You could make it just a social evening. Maybe they go to have ice cream, but just make it an event where everyone is involved in silly ways, fun ways, and the trick is always, once you get a few dads in, they encourage two or three more, and before you know it, you've got great participation percentage. So get going on that. Think of those things now. Get them on the calendar so that those busy dads I know that are traveling, business, that type of thing, they'll know, hey, I want to book in advance my time to be available for your team. It's very, very important. Talking about things that you want to book in advance, I was going to drop a little thought about something I included in the link party. Last week I talked to you a little bit about the link party. A link party, if you don't know what that is really just it's like a blog, but it doesn't have long paragraphs. It's got little snippets of information, sometimes a summary, and then usually a picture, an image, a link to an article or to a resource that I think would be valuable to you. I think these are fun ways for me to parse down all this information that's coming at you and spark some creativity of your own in ways you might want to use things. So one of the things is talking about using time wisely in the summer to make plans for the future. One of the things I put in the link party was a link to personalized stationery, like personalized notepads, personalized thank you cards. And that could be for yourself, a beautiful monogram, or it might be with your team name or your team logo. I know that I used KP Designs, which is Kim Pieri. She's a dance team director. I used her stuff to give teacher gifts for my son's teacher. So you could think ahead and get that stuff ordered now before the back to school rush. And then you've got hi, welcome. I'm so glad my child's in your class. Here's a gift. Remember me. Or flip side of that, when you have a theme for your team, you've got something, you could do that and give those as teacher of the week gifts. For your team, you could do the same thing. You could have something with the team name done for thank you notes, something you could do for your booster club members. So I really want you to think about that now. Get that stuff organized and ordered, and it'll be printed ready for you to use in the fall. So you'll have it there ready to go. It won't be one more thing you're scrambling for in August when school starts to get done. So think about that. So that's in the link party. Talking about helping each other and using each other as resources. I also wanted to talk about summertime and crafting. I get real itchy to do crafts. I think Daisy's going to bark in the background for us. I get really itchy to do summertime crafts, and when I'm doing crafts, I think of our good friends, Betsy and Ron Heathcock. Betsy has got a gift for crafting. She always has, goes all the way back to, some of you are going to remember, dot paint shirts with glitter on them, painted dot. I don't even know, but I know that Holly Knight loved hers, and Betsy was the queen of making those. So that's a flashback to the 80s, 90s we might have to bring back. But anyway, Betsy's always been queen of crafting. She loves it. Now that they're both retired teachers, Ron does incredible woodwork. And many of you, if you've been at convention or some of the camps, you will get to do a crafting session with Betsy and Ron. And she also does this for team activities, team gifts. So if you need to if you don't have Betsy's information, you can certainly contact me through Danceable Thoughts, and I will hook you up, because we all love to craft. I mean, there's whole businesses now, brush and board and painting with a twist, that's built on crafting, and I wish I'd have thought of those, but instead I thought my Danceable Thoughts. Speaking of Danceable Thoughts, I'm going to take us to this is an awkward conversation. That's all I can say. So, I was looking, I'm not up on what's current on Broadway. I'm going to start right there with that disclaimer. I'm absolutely not current on it. But, how do you get an abridged version of it? Check out the Tony Awards. Well, I noticed in fact, I think I even cross-posted the opening of the Tony Awards. James Corden did it. It was so fun, and just little snippets. It really makes me think of like spring show openers. It gets so exciting. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, mix it together, make this great production with a little sense of humor. That's my favorite thing too. Well, I found out that Oklahoma had been reset, and they put it in a different time frame. According to them, they didn't change a single word of the songs or the scripts, but they just reset it in different times. So of course I was interested. I mean, if you don't grow up a theater rat, probably in community theater, without doing Oklahoma at once. In fact, when I was in high school, we did Oklahoma as a musical my junior year. I was the dream scene Lori. They needed somebody who could dance, so that was me, and I can't sing. So I didn't have to sing, I just got to dance. Well, so of course, I love Oklahoma. Love the songs, memorized all of them. So I clicked on, so incredibly interested that they used shall we say, otherly abled, a wheelchair-bound actress, performer, and in my head, I just saw it. I didn't know anything about it. In my mind, I guess because I'm thinking from my dancer POV, I was thinking, oh my goodness, I wonder if she plays the role of Lori, which Lori is the female lead. And the whole reason I'm thinking this, of course, I'm giving, just true confessions, is that I was the dream scene Lori. So if you've never really paid attention in Oklahoma, you've never watched it, which I bet you have, but Lori has a dream, and in the dream, it both echoes what she's troubled with in the world and foreshadows what's going on. And I saw the actress in the wheelchair, and in my brain, I thought, I wonder if that's the character who is Lori, and that in her dream sequence, that Lori might be up and moving. And so then I realized that as I was thinking through it, I'm like, well, maybe that's a little bit biased on my part, because we want to value our artists and performers, whether they are up and moving or not. But I'm going to give myself a pass on not making a terrible biased thought on that, but more thinking, oh, the role that I had, which was the dream sequence. And of course my brain was going, oh, what would I do? I've had a wheelchair-bound student before. I loved working with her, and she really She really valued her time out of the chair, I guess is the best way to put that. And so, of course, that's why I was thinking dream sequence, Lori. All of that aside, and my bias admitted and hopefully curtailed, what the actress that I was watching, she actually plays a part called Adu Annie. And she's I'm just the girl who can't say no or can't say no. She's in a terrible, so she's a little loose and crazy. Well, it's a funny, funny song. Very clever, very funny. So I click on the link. I start watching it. They've updated, shall we say, the accents and the it's almost sounded a little, it was very fun. The music has been a little bit updated. It almost sounded a little bit like that yodely kind of voice. Very, very, Smoky Mountain kind of twangy. It was just different. But what I thought was really eye-catching to me was that she wasn't the bubbly, funny character that I associate with Adu Annie. That usually I'm thinking the actress that I knew that played it when we were in high school. Very funny, great comedic timing, just cute as it could be. So I digress a little bit. I'm thinking about my sweet friend that played that role. So then I'm watching, and they go from the segment of her song into the main Oklahoma, and I'm looking at the close-ups of the performers' faces, and they are angry. They're rough. The cast is now multicultural. They've got a lot of different body language going on. There's tension. Now, if you know the whole story, there's supposed to be several tense things in it, but there's obvious tension between the performers. They're choreographed to, I should say, the way they're expressing it. They're expressing tension in their body language, in their facial features, their posture when they're standing and around each other, their posture when they're singing, and it is not the happy, glorious Oklahoma exclamation point that is the traditional staging at all. So, of course, that, sparked my mind. I was like, okay, all right, I got it. I know it's, an adaptation. I know it's been, restaged, but I got to check this out. So they have taken Oklahoma and they've turned it on its side a little bit. It's much as the critics are saying, and both the professional critics and just audience members, they say it's very dark now. They again use the same songs, but they change the visuals, they change the shall we say, the subtext of the lines because of the way that they put it in time and space, and they just changed it. They changed the meaning without changing the actual words, without really changing the text, shall we say. And that really struck me. It struck me as something I wanted to visit with you about, because we always are talking to our students now. Seems like very frequently as a judge and a clinician, I'm saying we need to work on expression. We need to be expressive. And our students love to do that angry, angst-filled teenage musicianship stuff where they do that kind of thing, and it really resonated with me that is the way they had taken Oklahoma and had put all that tension and frustration and anger into it, and they did it it's so completely done. The expression that they've used is so complete in everything: the posture, the body language, the clothing, the staging, that took something that was a known quantity to me, instantly let the little bells go off in my head, and made me interested in finding out more. Now, where do I take this as our danceable thought, as I say all the time right now, where we're, listen at your leisure and let it sink in? This is something we should be really thinking about with our students, is when they are working on performance qualities. We say smile or look serious or stern, but we don't often give them the complete subtext to what we want them to do. So we can take any song and turn it on its ear, and almost all songs can go from happy to sad in the context. You think about videos that you produce, and I want you to really think about that going forward. Do I have a perfect answer right now for you on how to do it? No, but I think that that's one of the things I want you to think through as we're going into another performance year coming up. How can you get expression to come from almost an actor's method point of view, where they are thinking about it in the complete context? And you cannot just tell them once or twice what the song means or what the movement means. You need to supplement their learning and their understanding with other things to read, other context to see the song, the music, the movement in, so that they understand it as a full body experience. So we're going to think more on that. It's, like I said, it's pretty deep. I encourage you to explore, like I said, explore this version of Oklahoma. It certainly caught me off guard on a number of levels, and so I'm really intrigued to have an opportunity to see it going forward. Swinging all of this around to our final conversation. This is my conversation I'm going to give to you now, and we'll lead this will lead us into next week's conversation. It's all about the phrase talent stack. So talent stack is something that I picked up from a guy that I listen to his podcast every single day if I can. His name is Scott Adams. I've mentioned him before. He wrote the book Win Bigly. If you don't know him in that context, you might know he's the guy that draws the Dilbert cartoons. Well, he often talks about people having talent stacks, also kind of mentioned in some of the books like Talent Code, that type of thing. And I'm going to be working a lot on helping us understand our own talent stacks. So we've got skills. We often talk about all the different roles a dance team director, a dance educator, a teacher plays in our students' lives. We are the costume designer, the choreographer, we're the counselor, we're the motivational speaker, we are the disciplinarian. But those are all the different roles we're asked to play. Where are our real talents? What are our God-given talents that we have? What are the talents we've developed over time? And where are the talents that we probably need to work on? We all have some of these in different degrees, and how we stack them at any given moment has to match the need and the moment of crisis or pressure, or shall we just say emergency. Our talent stack needs to be in the right order for the right occasion. And so that's something I'm going to be developing for you going forward. Final thought with this is that this week I have 2 directors intensives, Tuesday, June 18th and Wednesday, June 19th. And we're going to be talking a little bit about the talent stacks, especially on June 19th, which is the day that is dedicated to the director and assistant relationship and building it. So it's not too late to register if you're interested. You're hearing this, please contact me. That would be Angela at Danceable Thoughts. And I hope that you have enjoyed our Listen at Your Leisure and Let It Sink In podcast. Be sure that you become a follower on whichever of your podcast medias that you follow. My host site is Podbean, and I hope that you will become a subscriber to Danceable Thoughts. Go to the website, click on subscriber, promise that's all free. You'll become a member, then you can get access to all my handouts, and you'll be ready for the summer to be relaxed and prepared for the new school year, when your students will be helping you think it through and everybody will be gloriously dancing it out.